Hydra. So
Yeah.
eOnzErG dismantled him last time. He's looking to have a repeat here. We do have the maps picked. There was another ban for Reap the Storm, ban for Optimize. Our first map is going to be Eclipse coming up. We're just waiting to get into that game. It's going to be the first time we see Eclipse as our first map. And they played this last time. And I think that was the game where the cannon just got permanently denied over and over.
Yeah, I mean, that does sound like an eOnzErG game. He does, again, tend to be hyper aggressive, which I think in general, that's how you should play Zerg anyway. So, and beyond that, eOnzErG does have a very strong macro game. I mean, we've seen his mechanics. You know, everyone knows he's a fast player. He's a solid player. He can play very, very good long games, but he does tend to just go for the throat early on. He does have killer Mutalisk micro. And OyA in PvZ, actually, he has a very strong PvZ. You know, we saw him kind of dismantle Siki earlier in the tournament. And hold that thought, because the game's already ready. You know, I don't have to buy more time for you guys. I'm going to spare you the suffering of listening to my rant. It is Eclipse. Let's get into it.
So in the top right, it is our last remaining Zerg. Of course, it is eOnzErG.
In the bottom left, in that sexy magenta, it is OyA.
Yes, so last time we saw this play out, we had OyA top right, eOnzErG bottom left. OyA did go for Zealot pressure, and something happened where his Nat got compromised. I think multiple links snuck into the main, and he just could never get the SimCity up. Now, bottom middle or bottom left, I think, is a better position to wall for Protoss. I think, as a non-Protoss player, I'm not completely sure, but I think Forge is tight with the egg on the left side, and I think Gateway is tight on the right side, so you really only have to defend just that one particular spot. Now, we don't know if OyA is going for Forge or Gate. Okay, now the probe is coming back, so it's going to be Gateway opener again.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. You never know. It does. Yeah, that does look like a gate. eOnzErG going for. I actually wasn't paying attention. Is that yeah, it's an overpull.
That's overpull.
So, very standard here from both players. We'll have to see how many Zerglings eOnzErG chooses to make. But in general, this has been the most standard opening in ZvP. Gate first versus overpull. Very stable for both players. Though there is chances for the situation to quickly snowball out of control. And you have to remember, man, OyA was the one that busted out the proxy gates against Siki, right? The proxy double gate into that fast 3-gate pressure. And OyA does do this probe block routinely. Goes straight to the third to build his second pylon there to block it. And then he comes to the natural to block this. Putting down a pylon, that's really annoying as eOnzErG. His hatchery is going to be super delayed.
Yeah, and what's the response going to be from eOnzErG? The Ling should be popping out pretty soon. Once he gets over here, he's going to see the bad news that this is already blocked. Now, even though it is blocked, you have to remember that this is double pylon. It is, okay, it does get canceled, but that is, you know, an investment for the Protoss. But because he's got the Zealot over on the coming out, you know, the Lings can't instantly go over there. And this is also a lot of lost potential larva for eOnzErG. So definitely eOnzErG is getting the short end of the stick. And I love how he hid the probe. So he's going to block it again. And this is eOnzErG stuck on one hatch at the 3-minute mark. He's just going to build a forward hatch as he has to, right? Like, what else is he going to do? And this drone hasn't even returned either. So this is lost mining time.
Yeah, he's tilted, man. You know he's tilted. And sending these Lings across the map, I feel like I mean, it just got instantly punished by that second pylon block. And now eOnzErG, basically, he has to take another hatchery. Well, he can't really mine with that hatchery, Nyokin, because it's so far to the left that you can't even mine minerals with that. So,
yeah,
I don't know, man. This is disaster town already. I'm suspecting he's probably just going to go for a Ling Flood or something.
Yep, my eyes are completely locked on the minerals and gas. As soon as I see 100 gas get used, if it's not 150 minerals, I'm feeling like this game's already won for OyA because it's going to be a Ling Flood. We already know that there is a considerable amount of Lings already built. Looks like, so far, no gas has been spent, so we still don't know whether it's going to be lair or speed. He has pulled off of gas, so it seems like he is going to transition. Lings are trading decently well. I think that's about as well as you're going to trade in a funnel like that. No, 2 more drones are not mining for eOnzErG.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a nightmare to be in. eOnzErG really does not have any other plan other than to all in this, because I mean, he could go into 5 hatchery before lair to just get that hatchery down at the natural ASAP to actually mine from it. But he's actually just going to mine from that furthermost mineral patch, and it looks like he's just going to go for a Hydra Den. Now, this is definitely not just a 973 because you don't have anywhere to put the 7 drones there. So, like, 100% this is going to be a Hydra bust. And OyA already has a probe out onto the map, so you know for a fact he is definitely going to scout. You know, I mean, just not scouting that there's no natural, right? Like, no extra hatchery at the natural. You know probably something's up, given the fact also that eOnzErG has made a bunch of Lings.
Yeah, Lings too. Oh, he's going to see more Lings on the right side, but of course he has to build more Lings in case there's a Zealot move out. Now, Probe does come in here. Can it get into... Oh, no. Well, eOnzErG is in big-time trouble now. Hydra didn't get scouted. Off-location hatchery at the natural. Third base, of course, he doesn't know the drone count there, but seeing that amount of Lings, you can probably just imagine that this has to be a bust. Now, I noticed that his cybernetics was way far along. Citadel's halfway done. So it feels like OyA just has it in the bag unless there's some catastrophic engagement.
I mean, the fact that eOnzErG is mining from this hatchery is... it is really funny to see. I mean, those workers are really not efficient. It is creative though. He isn't going for the straight all in, which I think OyA had a clear game plan against. He made nonstop gate or zealots, delayed his nexus, got the cannons out. So ling all in was virtually impossible. But the fact that he's transitioning into a 973 with a completely shot natural base here. I mean, he's losing so many minerals every passing minute here. He has way fewer minerals than he should have. And he is just going to play for a macro game here, but with this hatchery being so delayed, you know, the thing is he could have gone the hatchery before the Hydra Den or something like that. He could have went straight into 5 hatch before Hydra Den, transferred most of his drones to the third base first rather than natural, and then he would have been playing a decent game from there. But the fact that he chose to get this Hydra Den, I think probably, you know, obviously he's changed his mind about going Hydras because it got scouted, right? I think probably his original plan was to ling all in, but then he saw OyA was more than prepared for it. Then he tried to mix it up, get the Hydra Den down, go for a Hydra bust. Then he saw OyA scouted that as well, and now his only choice is to go into a macro game. So you really can't fault his decision making there, but it is a really, really difficult spot to be in.
Yeah, I like this move from eOnzErG, going into the 5 hatch, not going to risk going for a 3 hatch bust. And I have to point out that he's forced out a decent amount of cannons. He also knows that Sarah is not out. So he knows what the tech is, right? He knows that it's Citadel. So he does have his 3 bases. He does have 5 hatches. If he sits behind Sunkens, you know, he's going to have great econ. I don't think he's necessarily out of it at this point, as long as he gets those Sunkens down. I don't see any at the third base. He's skimping out on Hydras, so the third base might be compromised right now.
Yeah, and here comes the Zealot push here. 1 Sunken up in time. Not SimCity though, but this is non-+1 upgraded Zealot, so the Hydra lane composition is going to do just fine. Holding the ramp though is really good for the Protoss player. The Hydras are missing a lot. The Zealots are getting aggroed by that one Hydralisk behind the mineral patches there, so not getting on top of the drones just yet. This is a lot of Zealots though. The Hydras are having a hard time dealing with the initial group of units here, and that group of units is buying time for these zealots in the middle line to get some kills onto the drones, but finally they do get cleaned up. And eOnzErG, you know, when all is said and done, he's up at he's up to 5 hatcheries. He's got decent saturation at his bases. The big problem for him now is that he doesn't have a lair. He doesn't have tech coming in just yet. He doesn't have upgrades, the range upgrades. So definitely his infrastructure is still lagging behind as a result of this early game. But he is making ground. You know, he's making up the ground that he lost by having this 5 hatchery going with the drone saturation.
Yeah, he did manage to save his drones at the third base. I don't think he lost really any, maybe like 1 or 2. Hydras do kill off a couple of zealots there, may be able to pick off some more. No, that's way too many zealots, so those are going to be pushed back. Now, we know that there's no lair, but OyA doesn't know that. So he doesn't know that there's no lurkers anytime soon. So he may be feeling not confident about making a secondary follow-up pretty soon with even just like 2 Templars. More zealots have bled off, and that's going to get eOnzErG more and more back into this game. A forward Templar could be potentially picked off. There's a nice zealot counterattack to top middle. This time, nope, he's not going to find success either because more Hydras coming in from the back, and that's going to be shut down, and he's going to now see 6 hatches. And if you're Protoss at this point, you should start getting worried because that's going to be a lot of production coming in.
Dude, Arakel, with the $10. Thanks so much, man. Zerg power indeed. eOnzErG is going to need some of that Zerg power channeled into him because he still has some ways to make, you know, he still has some whatever, has to catch back a bit, dude. I don't know what he's still a bit behind, guys, okay, just a tiny bit behind, but he is making progress here. And this Hydra count is absolutely incredible. And the fact that he's defended very well against a lot of OyA's harassment, be it with the zealot timing or with the trying to sneak in DTs, and he completely shut down all of those plays, means that, you know, finally he has great econ here and he has a bunch of Hydras. So really, and OyA doesn't have that many units, and I don't think his gateway count is up to scratch. He does have a couple of Storms here, but only 2 Templar. Not sure he's actually queuing up anymore. So suddenly this game is looking really not good for Protoss. Wait, eOnzErG is ahead in supply.
eOnzErG is completely in control of this game. He has so many Hydras. He's going to pop all of these cannons. He's going to pop these goons too because they don't have range. Look, the Hydras are dealing damage without getting hit back. Sure, there's a great concave, but that's going to be a dead gate, dead forge, so that's going to be nullified upgrades. I think Protoss has +1, but that just opens now that he's popped down the gate, he can just jump on these Dragoons. There's a couple going down, and this looks like exactly the Sylphid game where there's a goon switch, but there's just an overwhelming amount of Hydras. How did eOnzErG do it?
Yeah, how did he do it? That was insane for eOnzErG. He's going to be feeling so good about this game. Somehow just manages to come back from that opening. I have no idea how he did that. You know, to be completely honest with you, I think OyA was a bit too overzealous transitioning into this Dragoon count. You really want to stay on Zealots to get the Templars out, to get your infrastructure out. And he didn't stay on Zealots long enough, and he's GGing out here. Definitely going to be frustrated with that game there. But eOnzErG, man, just pulls one out of the hat.
Yeah, you look at the opener, and you're just like, what? How does Zerg win from here? There's no larva for him. He's stuck on 1 hatch for 3 minutes. And then one of the hatches aren't even on location. It's crazy how far of a lead OyA got there. I think the goon switch was fine. He moved out multiple times with Zealots, and they died to Hydras. So there was like 30 supply gone right there. If you keep those Zealots alive, it's all of a sudden 75 supply versus 105, right? Like, there's a ton of Zealots comboed with those goons. So I think that was a bit of a misstep there from OyA, but regardless, the early stages looked really good. But also eOnzErG looks really good, because when you have an opener like that, if it's me, I'm not happy. I'm already tilted. I'm already thinking about going into game 2. So for him to win there, that's going to be great for his mental.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I'm sure he was tilted at some point in that game, man. Like, no doubt about it. But he kept it together and just played the game out and came out ahead. And